My name is Keenan Young. I'd like to talk to you about the influence the civil rights movement had on the creation of the mutants in the Marvel Universe. I'd like to inform you about the correlation between characters and events that took place that inspired the American comic book The X-Men. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby are the creators of the X-Men. They shed light on the atrocities that happened to people of color in America through comic books. This message is packaged in a cool and exciting way with very serious undertones, and it's easy to overlook to the unsuspected reader. It's well known about the policies that were in place in America in the 1960s and the individuals that were affected by it. And when you're not directly affected by it, it's hard for you to care. But when you see your favorite character persecuted, uh, it's a chance for you to have a very eye-opening look on the situation. So, two of the main characters I would like to talk about are Magneto and Professor Xavier. First, I want to start with Magneto. So, Magneto and Malcolm X are both portrayed as villains and fought for a greater cause, bigger than themselves. Malcolm X's goals during the Civil Rights Movement uh, was to let black people know that they were God's chosen people. As a minister of the Nation of Islam, he preached fiery sermons on separation from the whites, who he believed that were destined for divine punishment because of their long oppression of blacks. Malcolm X embraced black separatism and shaped a lot of his debates on how to achieve freedom and equality in a nation that long denied a portion of its American citizens full protection under their rights. So, with that, Magneto also had his goals. Magneto wasn't just a separatist. He wanted the mutants to be the top of the food chain. He wanted them to be placed at the Homo superior. He believed that humans and mutants could not coexist. And this is based off his personal experience of bigotry and mistreatment, which proved to him that humans will never change. In the movie X-Men Last Stand, Magneto states, by any means necessary, towards the end of the film. So I like to talk about the inspiration and where it came from. Malcolm X's militant outlook on life and self-preservation is very similar to Magneto's, from what he went through and what he didn't want anybody else to go through as well. Magneto was introduced in 1963. At the time, Malcolm X was very active and vocal with his activism. Which leads me to Professor X. And Professor X. Yes, Professor X. And Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Professor X both looked at peace with coexistence. Martin Luther King Jr. believed that all men were created equal. Dr. King maintained a vision for a more diverse America where all people enjoy the benefits of equality during the time when opposition implemented legislation that was withheld rights from people of color and expressed a hatred through belittling and killing. Dr. King continued to take the high road. In Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, he stated that I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the context of their character. Professor Xavier did not want to be superior. He wanted to be equal. He wanted humans and mutants to live together in peace. Professor Xavier had such strong hope from the mankind that this would be achievable. And he forced himself, in a sense, to basically defend or show the mutant strengths and if to basically convince everybody that mutants aren't bad. He worked hard with the government to put their minds at ease about the mutants. On top of everything, he was a telepath, and he could have easily just changed everybody's mind to be cool or forget that they had a fear of mutants, but he wanted it to be natural. The legislative barriers that were created this time to separate people were very serious in the 1960s, and even before. The Jim Crow laws basically made people of color second-class citizens. Jim Crow was the name of the radical caste system, which operated primarily, but not exclusively, with southern and border states between 1977 to mid-1960s. Jim Crow system felt that it was necessary with violence to keep black people at the bottom of the racial hierarchy. In the X-Men comics, the Mutant Registration Act was established in 1964, issue 181, the Uncanny X-Men. It was passed by Congress that required all mutants to register by name, power, and were tracked. This made it hard for them to get jobs and basically just live in peace. The mistreatment of these groups make it hard to see a world where it would never exist. After going through all this mistreatment and trials and tribulations, it's hard to ever see a future where it doesn't exist. Mutants and people of color also faced the same things. They were called slurs. They were called everything but their names. But they just wanted to be treated as people. Mutants were cast out with the Mutant Registration Act. They were cast out of society and couldn't live as one. Also, a similar experience that black people went through was redlining. Not just black people of color. The graphic novels that I mentioned are fiction, but lessons can come from anywhere you look. Based off the time period the X-Men came from and what was taking place in America at the time, it's simple to connect the dots. Each of these individuals all wanted the best for their people. All the hardship and the pain they went through, they weren't deserving. They just wanted to be people. Thank you.